Arriving in the parking lot 2 minutes before the interview isn't a good thing. Welcome to Job Tips, the career development channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about 7 great tips on how to prepare for an interview coming up. Okay, so you've got the great interview that you've been waiting for coming up. What do you do in preparation? Well, there are many things that you can do, but I'm going to just highlight 7 of the top things that I think are important in preparing for the interview. These are not in any necessary order. I'm just going to go through them, take them to heart, use them, and they will serve you quite well. Number 1, do some mock interviews with a friend, a colleague, a family member, similar to how politicians do mock debates ahead of presidential debate, governor debates, those sorts of things, so that the interviewer is testing you with all kinds of questions that you might not expect would come up. And then you can have answers sort of formulated. You can grade yourself, even video it. It'll help you a lot. Number 2, research the company. It's an embarrassing moment when you go into an interview and you know what they make or you know what they do, but maybe you don't have a grasp on the company's history or maybe how large the company is, how many locations they have, how many employees in general, those kinds of things. It's good to know that information. And it's especially great if you're able to find out a recent momentous situation or event that has taken place that you can somehow interject in the interview at the appropriate time. For example, many years ago in a land far, far away in a former life of mine, I was interviewing for a very good role with an international truck and engine corporation, otherwise known as Navistar. They manufacture heavy trucking, school buses, and those sorts of things. And I had learned that the CEO at the time, whose name was John Horn, was able for the first time in decades of the company to ring the opening bell at Wall Street. It was just kind of cool, and it made the news within the company. This happened within, I think, maybe 2 or 3 weeks of my interview. I happened to have found it purely by accident, but it was neat when I was able to sort of bring that up at the appropriate time, and only you will know when that time is. I even mentioned his name. Wasn't it neat how Mr. Horn, mentioned the CEO's name, was able to ring the Wall Street opening bell? What a proud moment for the company. Yeah, it lends some familiarity to some of the situations at work in that organization. Number 3, dress appropriately for the job at hand. So you're looking to go to work as a mechanic. Well, you're not going to dress in a tuxedo, right? Or you're looking to get the job as an executive or maybe an internal salesperson in a formal kind of a role. Well, wear a suit and tie, right? Wear what is appropriate for the job that you're applying for so that you're not like out of place. And I say this because I've interviewed many, many people over the course of my career. And you'd be surprised how people might come into an interview sort of dressing sort of frumpy or kind of like where they get that idea. So really think about the position for which you're interviewing and dress appropriately. Number 4, and very important, show up on time. In fact, I would dare say show up early. And the reason is you don't maybe know what traffic situation is ahead of you, right? So show up, get there earlier, leave in plenty of time to account for possible traffic situations, or even if you get to the building, and if it's not a small organization or a small mom and pop, maybe it's a large corporate type of a setting, you may have a situation where the parking is a 5-minute walk away from the building, and then inside the building you have to go through security or some sort, and then the front desk person has to buzz the person to come down maybe 10 stories to get to you. So allow time for those kinds of situations. Arriving in the parking lot 2 minutes before the interview isn't a good thing because you want to get into the interview room on time, or at least to the point where the interviewer comes to greet you in the front lobby, wherever that greeting place is, on time. Don't be late. If you're late for the interview, you will not get the job. I almost don't care how good you are or what your background is. Being late is a surefire way to sink yourself in the interview. Number 5, bring a notepad and perhaps a nice leather portfolio or folder and ask the interviewer if you may take notes while you're going through the interview. There will be appropriate things that you can kind of jot down. Questions that may come to mind that you might want to ask them toward the end of the interview. When you ask that, first of all, it's just showing respect. They'll almost always say yes. I can't imagine them ever saying no, quite honestly, because it shows interest from you, and it shows a sense that you want to be able to make sure you don't miss anything and you'll jot down certain important points in the interview. It's just a really good thing to do. Number 6, have some questions in mind that you can ask them near the end of the interview. And why do I say that? At the end of almost every interview, nearly every interview, they will ask you, especially if they have interest in you, if you have any questions for them. Never say no. Never say, nope, I'm good to go. Have 3, 4, maybe 5 questions prepared that you can ask them. And depending on the kind of job it is and the company, you will be able to think of the questions in the preparation process before you go in. Have those sort of jotted down in that notepad. When you ask them questions, it shows interest in the company more. It shows that you're not just a robot going through the process. It also creates more of a familiar environment, more of a conversation versus an interview, and extends the interview time, giving them time, the interviewers, time to get to know you a little bit better. A better sense of how you are interacting with them in a not just question and answer session with them asking questions and you providing answers. So those are the 7 top things that I think will serve you extremely well in interviews. Make some comments down below. Let me know what you think about this video. If there are other sorts of tips that you would give those who are looking at this video as well that you might think of that they might do in preparation for the interview. That way it's not all just me, it's also you providing input for future viewers of the video. Also, I'd be so thankful if you would like, subscribe, share the video, share the YouTube channel, and also hit that notification bell to be notified of all the new videos that come out, and I would be most grateful. Well, for job tips, I hope you nail that job. You get the kind of job or career that you want to have.